There's something you need to hear. What if I told you it's no coincidence that you stumbled upon this video? That this exact moment, this precise instant as your eyes read these words, is part of a plan you haven't yet grasped. You feel something happening in your life, but you can't quite put your finger on it. A breakup, a blockage, an endless wait. As if Allah wanted to send you a message, but you couldn't quite understand it yet. But today, you're going to understand. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a reminder, nor a simple word of encouragement. It might be the confirmation your heart has been longing for. Stay attentive. Your miracle might no longer be on its way. It might already be at your door. Imagine a night where even the silence feels heavy. Not ordinary silence. A silence that envelops you like a cold blanket, that makes you feel something somewhere is no longer right in your life. You walk on, alone, with this strange feeling in your chest, this mixture of weariness and stifled hope. Your footsteps echo faintly. No stars visible, no familiar landmarks, as if the whole world has decided to withdraw, leaving you to face yourself. You look around, nothing moves, and you ask yourself sincerely, why me? Why now? Why does everything seem to stop when I so desperately need to move forward? But you don't know, not yet at least, that in moments when everything seems still, that's often when things are moving the most. Not around you, but for you. You keep walking. Your shoulders are heavy, but it's not the weight of the world. It's the weight of questions, expectations, prayers uttered in the darkness of your room, promises you made to yourself and couldn't keep, the weight of hopes you never dared to admit. And yet, you move forward. One step, then another. Even though you no longer really know what drives you, the road ahead seems to narrow. As if life were saying, stop, you can't go any further. As if every exit is blocked without explanation, leaving a bitter feeling of abandonment in your heart. But what you don't see, what no one sees when it happens, is what's happening behind this curtain of darkness. It's not a void, it's a veil. Behind it, something is stirring, something your eyes cannot yet perceive, but your soul already senses, despite yourself. A decree is being shifted. It's subtle, it's invisible, but it's real. You think you're walking alone, but in truth, every step you take is being observed, guided, adjusted. Every detour you take, even those that seem absurd, has a meaning you will understand later. It's as if life is holding you back for a moment, just long enough to protect you from a door that would have brought only hurt, or to align you with another door, one you hadn't even considered. In this night, everything seems empty, but in reality, everything is in motion, heavily, profoundly, silently. It is this precise moment, the one where you feel most lost, that often marks the beginning of a transformation written for you long before you become aware of it. Not a sudden miracle, not a drastic change, but a subtle, slow, sure opening. As if an invisible path were unfolding beneath your feet without you even realizing it yet. Perhaps you tell yourself that your prayers haven't been answered. You tell yourself that your efforts have been in vain. You tell yourself that the losses, the failures, the breakups, the delays are just proof that you were wrong. But the truth is, you are precisely where you are in this inner darkness. Because something has to happen. Something you could never have received if you had stayed where you were, with what you had, surrounded by what you thought suited you. This feeling of being put on pause. It's not fate that's stopping you. It's fate that's repositioning you. The blockage you see isn't a closed door. It's a passage in the making. A passage you can't yet grasp with your eyes, but your soul perceives it subtly, almost imperceptibly. You feel like you're on the edge of a precipice, but in reality, you're at the threshold of a turning point. A silent transition. An inner shift you'll only understand in retrospect. And if you could see what's being written for you, if for just a moment the veil were lifted, you would realize that never, not for a single second, have you been left alone in this darkness. Because in the very shadow where you believe you're abandoned, something is moving toward you. Something specific, something thought out, something intended for you. A sense of peace is approaching. A change is taking shape. A relief is slowly, very slowly making its way into your life. Silently, without fanfare, without warning. And it is precisely there, in that seemingly motionless darkness, that the real movement begins. Have you noticed? There's always a moment just before Allah sends a change when something inside you begins to tremble. Not a physical trembling, an inner trembling. A silent shiver that runs through your chest without warning. It's not fear. It's not stress. It's something deeper. Something that even words can't express. Your heart becomes unsteady. You wake up in the morning with a strange feeling, as if your life is no longer fully aligned with how you feel. You go to bed at night with a weariness that has nothing to do with the body, but everything to do with the soul. Certainties begin to crumble gently, almost delicately. Things you thought were immutable suddenly become blurry. The plans you clung to begin to lose their meaning. The bonds you believed to be eternal break silently, and even your own desires become difficult to recognize. You tell yourself you're losing control. You tell yourself something is wrong. You tell yourself you're fading away. But in reality, you're being displaced. This is the moment just before the change. Not a firework display. Not a clear intuition. Not a voice telling you what's coming. No. It's inner chaos. A silent uprooting. A crack opening in your heart to let in what is meant to come. Allah never uproots you without intention. Never. He takes nothing away without reason. He doesn't close any door randomly. He leaves no void in your life without a new kind of light already being on its way to you. But to receive what He sends you, your heart must be ready. And sometimes, preparation feels like destruction, confusion, loss. It's as if everything you held in your hands became too heavy, too fragile, too unstable. As if something wanted to slip through your fingers, as if you no longer had the strength to hold on to what was crumbling. And you think you're collapsing. You believe you're failing. You believe you're not strong enough. But what you don't see is that Allah is lightening your load. Yes, He is lightening your load. He is removing what is exhausting you. He is snatching away what is no longer meant for you. He is gently removing what is holding you back. You see a loss, but in His writing it is a liberation. You see a lack, but in His decree it is a preparation. You see an emptiness, but in His wisdom it is a vessel for something greater. Then your heart becomes unsteady, not because you are weak, but because something within you still refuses to let go. You cling to what reassures you. You cling to what you know, even if it hurts, even if it destroys you, even if you know, deep down, that it no longer has a place in your life. And Allah, He opens a space, not by forcing you, not by breaking you, but by guiding you, step by step, sometimes even through pain. He opens an inner space for you, a space you don't yet understand, but that you feel. A space where a new peace can take root. A space where a new version of you can be reborn. A space that can only exist if the old one crumbles. This inner uprooting, you don't like it. You want to run from it. You want immediate answers. You want to understand why your heart can't stay still, why your emotions change like the wind, why your desires contradict each other, why your soul yearns for something you can't even name. But it's always like this, just before something happens. The heart becomes more sensitive, more fragile, more vulnerable. Because it senses, before you do, that a change is near. Because it perceives what your mind doesn't yet know. Because it is connected to a decree you haven't yet seen. You are not lost. You are not unstable. You are not broken. You are in transition. A transition that very few people understand when they are going through it. A transition where you risk interpreting the movement as a loss, when it is simply a shift. A transition where the old you is detaching and the new you is beginning to emerge, without you yet having the words to explain it. You think you are falling, but you are being lifted up. You think you are scattering, but you are being recentered. You think you are losing everything, but you are making room for what is coming. And what is coming, you cannot yet see clearly, but your heart is already beginning to feel it, like a subtle vibration. Like a light breath announcing something approaching, something you never imagined. And that's precisely when everything begins to change. What if I asked you a question? A real one. Not a trivial question. Not a question you tuck away in the back of your mind thinking, I'll think about it later. No. A question that forces you to stop. A question that wrenches you from your automatic responses, your fears, your certainties. A question that confronts you with your soul. Are you ready? Then listen carefully. What if the silence of Allah in your life wasn't abandonment? What if this silence, which you interpret as a painful emptiness, was actually an answer? An answer you haven't yet learned to read. You feel it, don't you? That feeling that something is missing, that something is delayed, that something is holding back right in front of you, as if a door refused to open, even though you've been knocking for far too long. You're wondering, why is it taking so long? Why is it getting harder and harder? Why now, after I've already endured so much? Let me ask you another question. A question you may never have dared to ask. Would you truly be able to receive what you're asking for if you hadn't gone through what you're going through right now? Think about it. Not quickly. Not superficially. Think deeply. Because sometimes what you think you want isn't yet compatible with who you are. Not because you're incapable, not because you're weak, but because you're still developing. Imagine a seed yearning to become a tree before it has even broken through its shell. It could never bear its own potential until it has experienced its first rupture. And you, in your life, perhaps this rupture is what you're experiencing now. You complain about the silence, but this silence is transforming you. You complain about the waiting, but this waiting is preparing you. You complain about the obstacles, but these obstacles are toughening you, refining you, leading you back to a version of yourself you would never have reached in times of ease. So, what if what you are experiencing isn't a delay? What if it isn't a punishment? What if it isn't even a difficulty? What if it is an invitation? Yes, an invitation. An invitation to return to yourself, to purify your intentions, to reorganize your life, to let go of what no longer serves you, to learn what ease never forced you to understand, to develop the qualities that the answer to your prayer will one day require. Because you can't ask Allah to elevate you and want to remain exactly the same. You can't ask for an opening and refuse to let certain doors close. You can't ask for a transformation and cling to what's harming you. So let me ask you another question. What if what's causing you pain right now is precisely what enables you to receive what you're waiting for. Take a good look at your life. You think you're losing. But observe the sorting that's taking place around you. Observe the people who are drifting away. Observe the situations that are becoming blocked. Observe the paths that are closing. It's painful, yes, but it's not by chance. It's not chaos. It's a sorting that would never have happened if your life had remained comfortable. Because Allah knows you, He knows what you deserve. He knows what you ask for in your most sincere prayers. He knows what would break you and what would build you up. And sometimes, before sending what you have asked for, He removes what would have prevented you from receiving it. What would have distracted you? What would have slowed you down? What would have destroyed you? But you, tell me, how can you receive abundance when your hands are still full of what drains you? How can you welcome new peace when your heart is still attached to what makes it bleed? How can you recognize a blessing when you have not yet healed from what has hurt you? Delays are not rejections. They are readjustments, invisible corrections, necessary detours. Closures are not punishments. They are protections. Boundaries that protect you from yourself sometimes. Trials are not obstacles. They are invitations, subtle calls toward a new version of yourself. So tell me, truly answer, if Allah had given you what you asked for at the time you asked for it, would you have been able to bear it without losing it? Without losing yourself? You know the answer. And that's when something within you finally begins to understand that everything you're experiencing might not be a blockage, but the precise prelude to the moment your destiny will turn. And that's when what follows begins to unfold. There comes a moment in every life when the rain ceases to be a trial and becomes a blessing. But that moment never comes before the storm. Never. Because the storm, however violent, has a purpose you don't see at first. It seems to sweep everything away, shake everything, break everything. It tears things from you. It shatters your certainties. It transforms landscapes you thought were immutable. But in reality, it's preparing something. The earth that you are. Yes, you. This inner earth. Full of memories, scars of regrets, prayers, silent wishes. This earth, it has been turned over. It has been shaken. It has been cracked. And I want you to truly visualize it. Imagine a field you've left untouched for years. It is hard, compact, tangled roots, dry dust, stones that prevent any water from settling there. It is not bad, but it is not ready. And to plant a seed that will change the entire landscape, it must be turned over, braked, opened. That is what Allah sometimes does with the heart. He does not destroy it. He opens it. He does not break it. He prepares it. You think you are collapsing, when in truth, your inner soil is being worked. Each crack is not a weakness. It is a passage, a space where water can flow. You have been stirred from within. You have been disturbed. Some things have been taken from you. Not to impoverish you, but to make you fertile. Because something is being placed there. And mind you, not something ordinary, not something fragile, not something tossed about haphazardly. A future is being placed there. A new path, a direction, a relief you couldn't receive without this space. A miracle is being placed there. You don't see it. You can't see it. Because miracles don't appear the moment they're sown. They only emerge when they begin to grow. Everything you feel today, this restlessness, this confusion, this weariness that seems to come from a place you can't even define. It's not the end, nor a dead end, nor a punishment. It's the ground opening up. Yes, your inner self is opening up, not to collapse, to let out what has been planted. Because sometimes what you call pain isn't an injury. It's a birth. You don't realize it, but deep inside, a transformation is taking place. Invisible, silent, discreet, like a seed splitting the earth without a sound. You think you're losing your energy, that you're losing your meaning, that you're losing yourself. But no, you're transforming. There are times when the weariness of the soul isn't exhaustion, but a readjustment. A strange feeling that appears when the old you begins to detach, and the new you hasn't yet emerged. It's a liminal space, a fragile space, a sacred space. This is where you are. Look again at this inner landscape. You see only turned earth, dry, broken, uncomfortable. But if you only knew, if you could see what has been planted within you without your realizing it, you would understand that you are much closer to a rebirth than a fall. The rain will come. It always will. But only when the ground is ready. Because a blessing sent too soon is lost. It slips on the surface. It doesn't penetrate the earth. It nourishes nothing. But a blessing sent at the right time, it transforms everything. You wonder why things have fallen apart. Why some people have drifted away. Why some projects haven't come to fruition. Why some prayers have remained unanswered. What if all this wasn't a retreat, but a space created to welcome something you can't yet imagine? You think you're experiencing an ending, but no. You're experiencing a preparation. You think you're reaching the end, but you're experiencing a transition. You think your soul is emptying, but it's deepening. It's deepening to become capable of receiving a rain that wasn't meant for the surface. So yes, you feel cracked. You feel stretched. You feel jostled. But it's in these cracks that the light will seep in. It's in this void that peace will settle. It's in this turmoil that your future begins to breathe. And perhaps what you're feeling right now isn't an inner collapse, but the very first vibration of the miracle about to rise to the surface. And it's precisely at this moment that everything begins to unfold. Allah never forgets a heart that hopes in Him. Never. Even when you feel like you've slipped through the cracks of life. Even when your voice trembles. Even when your prayers become silent, almost whispered. Even when your hope seems so fragile, it could shatter under the weight of a breath. You think Allah has forgotten you because things are slow. Because doors remain closed. Because your heart grows weary. Because you can no longer see a way forward. But understand something simple, powerful, and profoundly true. It's never because He has forgotten you. It's because His writing unfolds at a pace that never resembles your impatience. Allah knows the exact moment your story must change. Not a moment before, not a moment after. Your story isn't late. It's perfectly timed, weighed, calculated, set to the second. You think you need things to change now, but He knows what your life requires so that the blessing is not only received, but carried, preserved, honored. You want openness. You want deliverance. You want peace. You want the answer. You want the miracle. But He wants to prepare you. He wants to uplift you. He wants to ground you. He wants to purify you of whatever would prevent you from recognizing His hand in what He offers you. So He withholds certain things, not to punish you, not to deprive you, but so that when it happens you understand that it was never in your hands. that it was never your calculation, that it was never your plan, that it was never the strength of your efforts that brought you here. It is Him, only Him. He knows the door that will open. You will only know it when it opens, not before. And this is the wisdom your heart must accept. It never comes from the direction you expect. Never. You observe certain doors, you force them, you insist, you persist. You even weep before them. You ask why they remain closed. But He has already shifted your deliverance to another door, a door you haven't yet noticed. A door that will open without you having to knock. A door whose existence you don't even suspect. That is why some things resist you. It is not a refusal. It's a redirection. He knows the words that will bring you relief. And sometimes, those words don't come from where you expect them. They might come from someone you never imagined. They might come from an unexpected moment, from an awareness you never thought you'd have, from a situation that seems ordinary, but carries within it a subtle, discreet, yet profoundly healing light. Sometimes, you wait for someone to understand you. And ultimately, the understanding comes from within, from what your soul finally accepts, from what your heart finally lets go of, from what your mind finally sees when it stops struggling. He knows the miracle that is on its way to you. And a miracle, contrary to what you've been led to believe, never arrives amidst turmoil. It arrives in stillness. In a moment when your heart is open enough to recognize it. In a season when you have been freed from what would have prevented you from receiving it. The miracle doesn't come when you insist. It comes when you align yourself. When you understand that you cannot manipulate what comes from above. That you can neither speed up nor slow down what is destined for you. That all you can do is become the person capable of receiving it. Sometimes, Allah withholds deliverance, not to prolong your pain, but so that the deliverance itself becomes a lesson. You must feel what it's like to be out of control, to understand what it's like to truly rely on Him. You must learn what it's like to be in expectation, to deeply understand the value of relief when it arrives. You must experience lack, to recognize abundance when it presents itself. You must reach the depths of your own weakness, to bear witness to His strength. So yes, He sometimes holds back. He holds back to educate you, to strengthen you, to lift you above your former self, to free you from dependence on things, people, plans, so that the day the door opens, you won't attribute that opening to chance, luck, your intelligence, or your strategy. You will know, you will feel, you will recognize that nothing could have opened it except Him. And it is in this recognition that your heart will finally find the peace it has been seeking for so long. Because what you are waiting for, what you are hoping for, what you believe is far away, is perhaps much closer than you think. And it's often when you think nothing is moving forward anymore, that something, unseen, begins to move, to come towards you. And that's precisely when what follows takes on its full meaning. Listen, not with your ears, with that burning spot in your chest every time you wonder if you'll make it. You're not losing, even if everything around you tells you otherwise, even if doors are closing, even if your plans are falling apart, even if people are drifting away, even if you no longer recognize your own life when you look at it. You see chaos, but in reality, you're being repositioned. You think you're going backward? You're not. You're being moved to a place where your old strengths wouldn't be enough, and where your old weaknesses would never have allowed you to enter. You think you're losing things? Look closer. You're being freed. You can't be forced into a new phase with the chains of the old one. You're carrying too much. You're clinging on too tightly. You refuse to let go of what, in any case, no longer wanted to walk with you toward the future. You're not being forgotten, and your heart needs to truly understand that. This silence you interpret as abandonment. It's not abandonment. It's preparation. You never prepare someone when everything is going well. You prepare when life is shaky, when your bearings disappear, when you find yourself alone with your thoughts, your doubts, your mistakes, your regrets. It's in those moments that you become someone. Not when everything is stable, not when everything is clear, not when you feel strong. Do you want to know when Allah is shaping you? When you think you can't hold on much longer, when you feel like you're going to break, when you say to yourself, I have nothing left. It's precisely because you have nothing left that He can finally give you what is truly meant for you. You think you're waiting for nothing, but what you call waiting is actually a migration, a transformation, an internal shift that completely changes how you will receive what is written for you. You stand there motionless, convinced that nothing is moving. But in the unseen realm, everything is in motion. Your paths are being reorganized. Your future encounters are falling into place. Your blessings are drawing near. Your opportunities are aligning. Do you think you're stuck? No. You are being aligned. The delays you experience are not delays. They are protections, strategic detours, specific redirections that prevent you from entering places you should never have gone. You believe that what was taken from you is a loss, but sometimes losing is the only way to set yourself free. Because as long as you held on to that person, that project, that habit, that version of yourself, you couldn't see beyond your own past. What stops in your life isn't an end. It's a transition, a clean break between what you thought you wanted and what your soul truly needs. Everything taken from you, everything ending, everything fading away, was just a step, not a finale. A step to develop your strength, a step to teach you to let go, a step to detach yourself from what was holding you back, a step to open your eyes to who you truly are, not just who you hope to be. And look at what you're experiencing today. You're walking in a liminal space, a strange space where you're no longer the person you were yesterday, but you're not yet the person you'll be tomorrow. This liminal space, it's uncomfortable, yes. It burns, it presses, it exhausts. But a liminal space is never a place of failure. It's a place of inner repositioning. You feel something inside you changing. You feel it in your fatigue, in your sensitivity, in your heart, which hardens and softens at the same time. In the way you look at people, things, life. In the way you react differently to what used to affect you. It's not a coincidence. It's a recalibration. You are emerging from a version of yourself that no longer exists. And that's why everything that no longer serves you fades away, crumbles, disappears. Not because you weren't worthy, but because you are growing beyond what held you back. Perhaps you feel loneliness, emptiness, uncertainty, but this emptiness isn't a lack, it's a space freed for something else, for something better, for something greater, for something more beautiful, for something more just. And this feeling that everything is falling apart around you, it's not the end. It's preparing the ground, as if Allah were saying, I am now removing what should not accompany you, so that you may move more lightly toward what is truly meant for you. So no, you are not losing, you are not collapsing, you are not regressing, you are repositioned, prepared, reoriented, aligned, and everything that disappears today silently brings you closer to what you cannot yet see. And it is precisely in this invisible movement that what follows begins to unfold, slowly but surely. Come a little closer. Leave the noise of the world behind you, just for a moment. Breathe, slow down, and listen to these words as if no one else were meant to hear them. As if this truth could only be revealed to you, because what I'm about to tell you isn't a general message. It's not a reminder for a crowd. It's not a random speech. No. It's something much more specific, much more intimate, much deeper. It's a whisper meant for your soul, for you, not for others, not for the world, for you alone. Do you feel that shiver in your chest? That slight, inner trembling you're trying to ignore? It's not emotion. It's not imagination. It is recognition. Your soul knows something is coming. Your heart senses it even before your mind can explain it. There is movement around you, a subtle shift, a change, almost imperceptible, but real. You may not be able to put it into words, but you feel it for a few days, a few weeks, perhaps even a few months, as if something is approaching you, like an answer brushing against you, like a deliverance whispering your name without yet revealing itself. And sometimes you think you're imagining things, that you're deluding yourself, that you're hoping too much, that you're overthinking. But no, it's not your imagination. It's the discreet sign that Allah sometimes places in a person's heart just before granting them what they long for. A strange peace, a breath of fresh air, a kind of silent certainty that comes without explanation, without logical reason, without tangible proof. You wonder why you feel this way, why you feel on the edge of something without knowing what, why you wake up some days with a feeling of change, even if nothing has changed around you. It's because something is unlocking in the unseen realm. You believe miracles appear suddenly. No. They begin in the unseen realm long before the eyes can see them. Yours has already begun. What you've been waiting for, what you've been hoping for, what you've been asking for so long, isn't being pushed back. It's being released. There comes a moment in a believer's life when Allah begins to shift something in their favor, without them even realizing it. A moment when destiny changes direction. A moment when the unseen silently reorganizes itself. This moment, many don't see it, but some feel it. You feel it. You wonder why you can no longer connect with certain things as you once did, why certain plans no longer resonate with you, why certain desires fade, why certain attachments detach, why your heart seems to be drawn in another direction. It's not emptiness. It's a calling towards something approaching. Your soul is readjusting to what is coming. It is preparing to welcome. It is preparing to receive. It is preparing to recognize the hand of Allah in what will soon enter your life. And what you're feeling now, this gentle tension, this silent anticipation, this mixture of fear and hope, it's not a coincidence. It's an energetic transition between what you've experienced and what you're about to experience. Do you want to know why you've been feeling different lately? Why you feel more sensitive, more emotional, more fragile at times, more self-aware? Why your thoughts are changing even if you can't explain it? Because your soul has already sensed what your mind hasn't yet grasped. You're close to something, very close, closer than you think. And what you call a miracle, it's not something distant. It's not a suspended dream. It's not an impossible hope. It's a reality in motion. A reality approaching. A reality slowly, very slowly, from the invisible into your world. It's no accident that you hear these words today. No coincidence, no random timing. There are words we hear by accident, and there are words we hear because we were destined to be here at this precise moment. These belong to the second category. You think it's just another reminder. But why does your heart react so strongly? Why does your soul tighten and relax at the same time? Why do you feel it's about you personally, as if someone had seen right into your heart? Because these words, they are for you. Only for you. They've fallen into your life now because now is the exact moment you needed to hear them. And the moment you've been waiting for, the one your soul has longed for so long, is not lost. It is not forgotten. It is drawing near. It is coming. It is descending toward you. And if you listen closely, very closely, you can almost feel the ground move beneath your feet, like a subtle sign that something is truly coming toward you. If something in this message has touched your heart, it's not by chance. It's because you're at a point where you need guidance, to be resettled, realigned with what Allah has truly planned for you. So don't let this light go out. Share this video with someone who also needs a sign. Write in the comments what you hope to see change in your life. And commit your intention right now. And above all, subscribe. Because the path you're on is just the beginning. There's so much more you need to hear, so much more your soul is waiting for. We'll move forward together toward what Allah has destined for you.